My stepchildren said they answer only to their biological parents. So, I changed the locks, canceled every privilege in my name, and told their father pickup was tonight. No one argued. I'm Tom, 35, and I've been married to Lisa for 18 months. She has 2 kids from her first marriage, Dylan, 17, and Sophia, 15. Their biological father lives about 40 minutes away and sees them maybe twice a month when he feels like showing up. When Lisa and I got together, I genuinely wanted to be the stepdad I never had growing up. My own father walked out when I was 12, so I knew what it felt like to need a father figure. I thought being a good stepdad meant being the yes man. Always supportive, always generous, always understanding. New school clothes, sure, no problem. Concert tickets for Sophia's favorite band. Of course. When Dylan wanted the latest gaming setup, I dropped $800 without blinking. When he crashed my car last month after staying out past curfew, I didn't even make him pay the $500 deductible. But respect, that was a completely different story. It started with small things. You're not our real dad. Became their go-to response whenever I asked them to do basic household tasks. When I'd ask Dylan to take out the trash, he'd say, I only listen to actual parents. When Sophia left dishes piled in the sink for days, she'd shrug and say, my mom didn't tell me to clean them. Lisa would have talks with them about respect, and they'd apologize and behave for maybe a week. Then, we'd be right back to the same pattern. The breaking point came last Friday. I decided to leave work early to surprise Lisa with dinner plans for our anniversary weekend. I pulled into the driveway around 3:00 inches the afternoon and immediately knew something was wrong. There were cars I didn't recognize parked on our street, and I could hear music blasting from inside the house. I walked through my front door to find about 20 teenagers having a full-blown party in my living room. Red Solo cups everywhere. The coffee table pushed against the wall. Kids I'd never seen before eating food from my kitchen. My house was completely trashed. Broken lamp. Mysterious stains on my white couch. Empty bottles scattered everywhere. Dylan was in the center of it all, acting like the king of the castle. When he saw me, he didn't even look embarrassed, just annoyed that I'd shown up. Party's over, I said loudly. Everyone out now. The music stopped. Kids started grabbing their stuff and heading for the door, but Dylan didn't move. Clean this mess up immediately. I told him once the house was empty. He actually laughed. You can't tell me what to do. You're not my father. This is my house, Dylan. My couch that's ruined. My lamp that's broken. No. Sophia interrupted, appearing from the kitchen. It's Mom's house too. We live here. We only take orders from real family, not from some guy Mom married. That's when I noticed something that made my blood run cold. The door to my home office was wide open, and I always kept it locked. I walked over and immediately saw that my safe was open. My emergency cash envelope, the one where I'd been saving money for Lisa's surprise birthday trip to Hawaii, was completely empty. $2,000 gone. I turned around slowly. Where's my money? Dylan shrugged with this smug expression. What money? I don't know what you're talking about. Prove we took it, Sophia said with a smile that made me realize this wasn't just disrespect anymore. This was theft. I stood there staring at these 2 kids I'd been supporting for over a year. Kids who ate my groceries, used my electricity, lived under my roof, and had just robbed me blind while throwing a party in my house. Something inside me switched off. Not anger, just cold, clear understanding. I pulled out my phone and called a locksmith. I need all my locks changed today. How soon can you be here? Then I called their biological father. David, it's Tom. Come get Dylan and Sophia tonight. Bring a truck because they need to take everything they own. They're not welcome in my house anymore. What happened? He asked. Ask them. You have 2 hours. I hung up and turned to find Lisa standing in the doorway. She'd come home early. She looked at the destroyed living room, at her children, then at me with an expression I couldn't read. Dylan, Sophia, go to your rooms. They didn't move. Now, they left reluctantly. Lisa waited until we heard their doors close. Then she walked to me slowly, reached into her purse, and pulled out papers. I've known about the disrespect for months. I hired a private investigator last week. She dropped the folder on the ruined coffee table. What I found out about what they've been doing wasn't just stealing from you. I picked up the folder with hands that weren't quite steady. The first page was a credit card statement. Not mine, not Lisa's. Dylan's name was on it. A card I'd never seen before with a $3,500 balance. The charges made my stomach turn. Online gambling sites, cash advances, liquor stores, all within the last 3 months. Keep going, Lisa said quietly. The next page was worse. Screenshots of text messages between Dylan and his friends. Planning parties at our house. Coordinating when I'd be at work. They'd done this 5 times. 5 different parties while Lisa was working late shifts at the hospital and I was supposedly safely at the office. The stolen money wasn't a one-time thing. It was systematic. He's been taking cash from my purse for months, Lisa said. I thought I was going crazy, misremembering how much I had. The investigator set up a hidden camera in our bedroom last week. She pulled out her phone and showed me a video. Dylan, walking into their bedroom like he owned it, going straight to Lisa's dresser, taking bills from her wallet. The date stamp showed Tuesday, 3 days ago. There's more, Lisa said, and her voice finally cracked. The investigator had followed Dylan and Sophia to places they told us they weren't going. Dylan wasn't at basketball practice last Thursday. He was at a house party 2 towns over where police broke up a fight and found drugs. 3 kids were arrested. Dylan left 10 minutes before the cops arrived. Pure luck he wasn't caught. Sophia's pages were different, but just as bad. She'd been cutting school with her boyfriend. The one 9-year-old boyfriend neither of us knew existed. The one who'd been driving her around in a car registered to someone with a criminal record for assault. The investigator had photos of them together. Of Sophia getting into his car after saying she was going to study group. I've been making excuses for them for years, Lisa said, telling myself it was the divorce, that they needed time, that we just needed to be more understanding. She looked at me with red eyes. I've let them disrespect you because I was afraid if I chose you over them, I'd lose them. But I already lost them. They're not who I raised them to be. Or maybe they're exactly who I raised them to be by never holding them accountable. I heard a car door slam outside. David had made good time. I already told him everything, Lisa said. Sent him the investigator's report this morning. He tried to make excuses. Blame me for being too strict. Blame you for being a bad influence. Then I told him if he didn't come get them tonight, I was calling the police about the theft and showing the gambling records to the judge to modify our custody agreement. The doorbell rang. Lisa answered it. David stood there looking smaller than I remembered. Not physically, just diminished somehow. Behind him was his girlfriend Candace, the one Dylan and Sophia claimed was so much cooler than their mom. Where are they? David asked. Packing, Lisa said. They have 1 hour. Anything left behind gets donated. You can't just kick them out, Candace said. They're minors. I can remove them from a home where they've committed theft and are facing consequences for their actions, Lisa replied. They'll be living with their father as per our custody agreement, which states he can have them full-time if I'm unable to care for them. Right now, I'm unable to care for them without compromising my marriage and my mental health. Candace opened her mouth, but David put his hand on her arm. He saw something in Lisa's face that made him back down. Dylan came down first, dragging 2 duffel bags. His expression was different now, not smug anymore, almost worried. He looked at the folder still open on the coffee table, and his face went pale. You hired someone to follow me? I hired someone to document what you were doing with the freedom and trust we gave you, Lisa said. Get in your father's truck. Mom, I can explain. Get in the truck. Sophia appeared on the stairs, crying. Real tears this time, not the manipulative ones she'd used before. Mom, please, I'm sorry. We didn't mean. You didn't mean to get caught, Lisa interrupted. That's different from being sorry. You've had 18 months to be sorry, to change, to show even basic respect to Tom, who's never been anything but kind to you, who paid for your clothes and your food and your activities and asked for nothing in return except basic human decency. We'll do better, Dylan said. We promise. Your promises mean nothing, I said. It was the first time I'd spoken since David arrived. You've made promises every time your mom talks to you about your behavior. Then, 3 days later, you're back to the same patterns. I'm done. Your mom is done. You're going with your dad, and maybe living without someone to steal from and disrespect will teach you something. David flinched at that. Candace looked uncomfortable. Let's go, David said quietly. Get your stuff in the truck. The locksmith arrived as they were loading the last of their things. Perfect timing. Dylan watched the man start changing the locks on the front door with an expression I couldn't quite read. Reality setting in, maybe. Sophia tried one more time, grabbed Lisa's arm as she was walking to the truck. Mom, please don't do this. I'll be better. I promise I'll be so much better. Lisa gently removed her daughter's hand from her arm. I love you. That's not going to change. But love isn't enough anymore. You need consequences. You need boundaries. You need to understand that actions matter. Maybe your father can provide that. Maybe not. But I can't keep doing this. I can't keep watching you hurt the people who care about you and pretend it's fine. You're choosing him over your own kids, Dylan said bitterly. I'm choosing my sanity over enabling your bad behavior, Lisa corrected. There's a difference. They left. David's truck pulled away with Dylan in the passenger seat and Sophia in the back, both staring out the windows. Candace followed in her own car. The locksmith finished with the front door and moved to the back. Lisa and I stood in our destroyed living room, broken lamp still on the floor, stains on the couch, the safe in my office still hanging open and empty. I'm sorry, Lisa said. For what? For not doing this sooner, for making excuses, for letting it get this bad. I pulled her close. She buried her face in my shoulder and started crying. Not quiet tears, full-body sobs that shook both of us. 18 months of frustration and guilt and anger and fear all coming out at once. "We're going to be okay," I said, even though I wasn't sure I believed it. The locksmith finished and handed us new keys. 4 sets. I paid him in cash from my wallet since the emergency fund was gone. He looked at the destroyed living room but didn't ask questions. That night, Lisa and I cleaned in silence, threw away the broken lamp, scrubbed the stains with carpet cleaner, put furniture back where it belonged. Around midnight, her phone started ringing. David's number. "Don't answer it," I said. She looked at me. "What if something's wrong? Then he can text." The phone went to voicemail. Rang again immediately. Lisa put it on silent and set it face down on the counter. We went to bed exhausted. Lisa fell asleep almost immediately, but I lay awake staring at the ceiling, thinking about the credit card debt, the gambling, the parties, the theft, how long it had been going on right under our noses. My phone buzzed. Text from a number I didn't recognize. "This is Candace, David's girlfriend. We need to talk about Dylan and Sophia. Call me." I deleted it. Another text came through. Dylan this time, from his cell. "You're going to regret this. Just wait." I screenshot it, saved it to a folder I labeled Evidence, then blocked his number. Sophia texted next. Long paragraph about how she was sorry and scared, and David's apartment was small, and Candace was mean, and could she please come home. I showed it to Lisa. She read it with red eyes. "What do you think?" I asked. "I think she's learning what consequences feel like," Lisa said. "And I think if we take her back now, we teach her that crying and apologizing is all it takes to undo everything. No, she stays with David. At least for a while." We both blocked Sophia's number. The texts kept coming through Lisa's phone. She turned it off completely. "What did the investigator say about the gambling?" I asked. "Dylan's in deep. The card is maxed. He used David's information to open it, forged his signature on the application. David doesn't even know yet." "How much?" $3,500 on that card. But there's another one. Different company. Another $2,000. I sat up. "How?" "Used my maiden name, my old address, my social security number from documents in my filing cabinet." Lisa's voice was flat. "The investigator thinks there might be more. He's still tracking. We need to report this." "I know. I mean to the police, Lisa. This isn't just teenage rebellion. This is fraud, identity theft." "I know," she repeated. "But he's my son. He's also a criminal." She flinched like I'd slapped her, but she didn't argue. The next morning, Lisa called the credit card company's fraud department. Explained that her 17-year-old son had stolen her information and opened accounts. They put freezes on everything. Started investigations. Asked if she wanted to press charges. She looked at me across the kitchen table. "Do I? That's not my decision. You're my husband, this affects you too. He stole from both of us," I said. "But he's your kid. I can't tell you to send him to jail." "But you think I should?" I didn't answer. Didn't need to. Lisa told the credit card companies she'd decide about charges within the week. Hung up and immediately called David. "Did you know Dylan opened credit cards using my information?" she asked without preamble. I could hear David's voice from across the table. Loud, defensive, making excuses. "Stop," Lisa said. "Just stop. I don't want to hear about how I wasn't watching him closely enough, or how this is because of the divorce. He committed fraud. Multiple counts. The credit card companies are investigating, and I have a week to decide if I want to press charges." Silence on the other end. "I need to know if you're going to actually parent him," Lisa continued. "Set boundaries, get him help, or if this is going to be the same pattern where you're his friend instead of his father and make excuses for everything he does wrong." "You're being dramatic," David said. I could hear him clearly now. Lisa had put the phone on speaker. "Kids make mistakes. Mistakes are forgetting homework or staying out past curfew," Lisa said. "Fraud is a crime. There's a difference. So you're going to send your own son to jail? I'm going to hold him accountable for his actions. What that looks like depends on his choices moving forward. And yours." She hung up, stared at her phone for a long minute, then looked at me. "I need to know you're with me on this," she said. "I'm with you. Even if I press charges?" "Even then." She nodded, picked up her phone again, called the investigator. "I need you to find out how bad the damage is," she said. "All of it. Every card, every account, every dollar. I need a complete picture." The investigator said something I couldn't hear. "Money isn't the issue," Lisa replied. "I need to know the truth, whatever it costs." She ended the call and went upstairs. I heard the shower running. She stayed in there for over an hour. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered anyway. "Tom? It was Candace. We need to talk. How did you get my number?" "Dylan gave it to me. Look, I know you're mad. But you need to understand what you're doing to these kids. They're traumatized. Sophia hasn't stopped crying since last night. Dylan isn't talking to anyone. This is child abuse. I laughed. Actually laughed. Couldn't help it. Child abuse, I repeated. They threw a party in my house, stole my money, committed fraud, cut school, and lied for months. And facing consequences for their actions is abuse? They're children, Candace insisted. They need guidance, not punishment. They've had guidance for 18 months. I tried being understanding, being supportive, being the yes man who gave them everything they wanted. Know what that got me? A trashed house and an empty safe. So no, I don't think consequences are abuse. I think they're long overdue. David is overwhelmed, Candace said. He works full-time. I work full-time. We can't watch them every second. They need to be with their mother. Their mother made her choice. Then you're both terrible parents. I'm not their parent, I said. Remember? They made that very clear. I'm just some guy their mom married, which means I have zero obligation to house them, feed them, or tolerate their disrespect. They wanted to only answer to their biological parents? Great. They got their wish. I hung up. Blocked that number too. Lisa came downstairs an hour later, dressed for work. She'd called in yesterday, but today she had a shift she couldn't miss. Pediatric ICU nurse. Sick kids didn't wait for family drama. You okay? I asked. No, but I will be. She kissed me, quick and firm. Don't answer the door if David shows up. Wasn't planning on it. She left. I called my own job, took a personal day, spent the morning documenting everything, took photos of the damage to the house, made copies of the investigator's report, compiled all the texts and calls from Dylan, Sophia, David, and Candace into a single file. Around noon, David's truck pulled into the driveway. I watched through the window. He got out, looked at the door, saw the new locks, tried his key anyway. When it didn't work, he rang the doorbell. I didn't answer. He rang it again, then knocked, then pounded. Tom, I know you're in there. Your car is in the driveway. Open the door. We need to talk about this. I stayed quiet. He couldn't get in. That's all that mattered. After 10 minutes of knocking and yelling, he gave up, got back in his truck, but he didn't leave. Just sat there in my driveway with the engine running. I called the non-emergency police line. There's a man parked in my driveway refusing to leave, I said. I've asked him to go. He won't. The dispatcher asked for details. I explained about the stepkids, the theft, them moving out, David now harassing us. Is he threatening you? Not directly, but he's refusing to leave my property after being asked. And given that his son stole from me yesterday, I'd rather not have a confrontation. A patrol car arrived 20 minutes later. I watched from the window as the officer talked to David, saw David gesturing at the house, getting animated. The officer said something that made David's shoulders slump. David left. The officer came to the door. I answered. Sir, I explained to Mr. He checked his notepad. David Brenner that he needs to stay off your property unless invited. He's upset about his children being removed from the home. I've documented this call. If he comes back without permission, call us immediately and we can pursue trespassing charges. Thank you. The dispatcher mentioned theft. Have you filed a report? Not yet. Still gathering documentation. Sooner is better than later, the officer said, particularly with juveniles involved. Creates a paper trail if things escalate. He left. I made coffee and sat down to finish my documentation. Around 3, Lisa called. David showed up at the hospital, she said. Security had to remove him. What did he want? To convince me to take the kids back. When I said no, he started yelling about how I abandoned them, how I'm a terrible mother, how he's going to take me back to court for full custody. Let him try. Tom, I'm scared. Her voice cracked. What if the court sides with him? What if they say I'm unfit because I kicked them out? You didn't kick them out. You moved them to their father's house per your custody agreement after they committed crimes in your home. That's not abandonment. That's appropriate parenting. What if they don't see it that way? Then we get a lawyer and show them the evidence. The investigator's report, the credit card fraud, the parties, everything. She was quiet for a moment. Okay, you're right. When are you home? 2 hours. I'm leaving now. Drive safe. I spent those 2 hours calling lawyers, family law attorneys in our area. The first 3 couldn't take us on short notice. The fourth, a woman named Patricia Vance, listened to my summary and asked me to come in tomorrow morning. Bring everything, she said. Every document, every text, every photo. I need to see the full picture. How much is this going to cost? My retainer is $5,000. But based on what you're telling me, this is a solid case. The kids committed crimes. You're not denying access, just requiring they live primarily with their father. Lisa's well within her rights. I gave her my credit card information over the phone. She'd have paperwork ready for tomorrow. Lisa came home exhausted. We ordered takeout and ate in silence in front of the TV. Around 8, her phone rang. David again. She answered on speaker. "What?" "Dylan's in the hospital," David said. Lisa stood up so fast her plate crashed to the floor. "What happened?" He tried to hurt himself, cut his wrists in the bathroom. "Candace found him. We're at County General." "I'm coming," Lisa said, already grabbing her keys. "Lisa," I said carefully. "Wait." She looked at me like I'd suggested she abandon her child. "Just wait. 1 minute." I turned to the phone. "David, how bad is it?" "Bad enough," he said. "They're admitting him for psych eval. So he's stable. For now. Then Lisa doesn't need to rush down there. She's been working all day. She's exhausted. She'll come tomorrow during visiting hours." "Her son tried to kill himself and you're telling her not to come?" David's voice rose. "What kind of man are you? The kind who remembers that Dylan is manipulative and has used suicide threats before when he doesn't get his way." I looked at Lisa. "Remember sophomore year? When you told him he couldn't go to that concert?" Lisa's face went pale. "He texted me saying he wanted to die. I raced home from work. Found him playing video games in his room." "Exactly. This could be real. Or it could be another manipulation. Either way, the hospital has him. He's safe. You going down there exhausted and emotional doesn't help anyone." "He's my son," Lisa said. "I know. And tomorrow during visiting hours, we'll both go. Together. But right now you need to take care of yourself first." She looked torn, phone still pressed to her ear. David still yelling on the other end about how she was a terrible mother who chose a man over her children. "I'll call the hospital," Lisa said. "Talk to the nurses. Make sure he's actually stable. Then I'll decide." She hung up on David, called County General, asked for the psych ward, identified herself as Dylan's mother and a nurse at a different hospital. The nurse she spoke to confirmed Dylan was admitted, stitched up, currently sedated and stable. "Can I speak to him?" "He's sleeping. The medication we gave him will keep him out until morning. You can call back then or come during visiting hours tomorrow at 2. Lisa thanked her and hung up, looked at me with eyes that were drowning. "What if this is real?" she whispered. "What if he actually wanted to die and I wasn't there? Then the hospital saved him," I said. "And tomorrow we'll figure out what's real and what's not. But Lisa, you can't let this manipulate you into undoing everything. Dylan knows your weak spot. He's pressing it. He's 17 and in a hospital bed because of choices he made, actions he took, consequences he's facing." I pulled her close. "I know this is hard, but you can't save him by destroying yourself. Or us." She cried into my shirt for 20 minutes, then pulled away, wiped her eyes, and nodded. "You're right. I know you're right. It just feels wrong. Being a parent means making wrong-feeling choices that are actually right," I said. At least that's what my mom used to say. We went to bed early. Lisa took something to help her sleep. I lay awake, listening to her breathe and wondering if I'd just made everything worse. My phone buzzed at 2 in the morning. Text from another unknown number. "This is Sophia. Please tell Mom that Dylan's okay. They're keeping him for 3 days. Dad won't let me see him. I'm scared." I screenshot it, added it to the evidence folder. Didn't respond. Another text came through. "Please. I know you hate us, but I'm scared." I responded this time. "I don't hate you. But your mother needs rest. I'll tell her in the morning. Dylan's safe. The hospital is taking care of him. Try to sleep." "I can't sleep. Dad and Candace are fighting. She doesn't want us here. She keeps saying we're ruining everything. That's between them. Not your problem. Everything is my problem. This is all my fault. If we'd been better, none of this would have happened." I stared at that message for a long time. Part of me wanted to agree, to say yes, if you'd been better, we wouldn't be here. But she was 15, scared, watching her brother in a hospital and her family imploding. "You made bad choices," I typed. "But bad choices don't make you a bad person. You can learn from this. Be better. But that starts with taking responsibility, not blaming others, not making excuses, owning what you did and deciding to change." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "I'm sorry," she wrote, "for everything. I know you don't believe me, but I am. Show me through actions, not words." No response after that. I set my phone down and finally fell asleep around 4. Lisa woke me at 7. She'd already showered and dressed, made coffee, looked determined in a way I hadn't seen before. "I called the hospital," she said. "Dylan's awake. Asking for me. We're going at 2 during visiting hours. Together. But first, we're meeting with Patricia." The lawyer's office was downtown. Small but professional. Patricia was maybe 50, gray hair pulled back, sharp eyes that missed nothing. She listened to our story without interrupting, looked through every document we brought, took notes on a yellow legal pad. "This is clear cut," she said when we finished. The children committed crimes. You documented everything. You didn't deny access, just required they live with their father. Unless David can prove abuse or neglect, which he can't. Lisa's within her rights. If he takes you to court, we show the judge this. She tapped the investigator's report. No judge will fault a parent for protecting themselves from theft and fraud. What about Dylan being in the hospital? Lisa asked. Did you cause his mental health crisis? No. Did you deny him medical care? No. Then it's not relevant. Teenagers in difficult situations sometimes harm themselves. That's tragic. But it doesn't mean the parents caused it by setting boundaries. In fact, I'd argue the lack of boundaries contributed to his issues. Patricia leaned forward. Here's what I recommend. You visit Dylan today. You're supportive but firm. You don't apologize for your choices. You don't promise to take him back. You tell him you love him and that he's getting help. Then you leave. You document the visit. You continue with the fraud investigation. And if David files for custody modification, we're ready. How much is this going to cost? Lisa asked. If David doesn't file anything, just the retainer. If he does, could be anywhere from $10,000 to $30,000 depending on how much he fights. Lisa looked at me. I nodded. Do it, she said. Whatever it takes. We left the lawyer's office and grabbed lunch. Neither of us ate much. At 1:30, we headed to County General. The psych ward was on the 4th floor. Locked doors, intercom system. We had to show ID and explain our relationship to Dylan before they'd let us in. A nurse escorted us to a common room. Dylan sat at a table by himself, wrists bandaged, wearing hospital scrubs. He looked small, vulnerable. Nothing like the smug teenager who'd laughed at me 3 days ago. He saw Lisa and burst into tears. She hesitated, just for a second, then went to him and pulled him into a hug. He sobbed into her shoulder like a little kid. I stayed by the door, watching, waiting to see if this was real or another performance. I'm sorry, Dylan kept saying. I'm so sorry, Mom. I didn't mean it. I was just so scared. Scared of what? Lisa asked, pulling back to look at him. Of everything. Of Dad's place. Of Candace. Of losing you. Of being a screw-up. His voice cracked. I know I messed up. I know I stole from Tom. I know I'm terrible. I just wanted everything to stop. So you hurt yourself. I thought if I was gone, it would be easier for everyone. Lisa's face hardened. Just slightly. Don't you ever say that again. You being gone wouldn't make anything easier. It would destroy me. Do you understand? Destroy me. Dylan nodded miserably. But, Lisa continued, I'm not going to pretend that what you did to get here was okay. You stole. You lied. You committed fraud. You threw parties in our house and destroyed our things. You disrespected Tom over and over. And when we finally said enough, you tried to manipulate the situation by hurting yourself. It wasn't manipulation, Dylan protested. I really wanted... Stop, Lisa's voice went cold. I'm a nurse, Dylan. I've worked psych. I know the difference between a genuine suicide attempt and a cry for attention. The cuts on your wrists are horizontal, shallow. You hit no major vessels. You did it in a bathroom where you knew Candace would find you quickly. This was a performance. Dylan's face crumpled. No, Mom, I swear. You're getting help, Lisa interrupted. You're going to stay here for 3 days. You're going to talk to the psychiatrist. You're going to be honest about everything. And when you get out, you're going to live with your father and follow his rules. Maybe eventually you can come home, but that depends entirely on you, on real change. Not promises, not apologies, actions. I want to come home now, Dylan said. Please, I'll be better, I promise. Your promises mean nothing. Lisa stood up. I love you. I will always love you. But I don't like who you've become. And until you decide to change that, you're staying with your father. She turned and walked toward the door. Dylan called after her, pleading, begging. The nurse stepped in when he tried to follow. Lisa didn't look back. I followed her out. We got to the elevator before she collapsed against the wall, shaking. I held her while she cried. The elevator dinged. We got in, rode down in silence. Did I just abandon my son? She whispered. No, you just refused to be manipulated by him. He's in a hospital bed, because he put himself there. I pressed the button for the lobby. Lisa, you did everything right. You were honest. You were firm. You showed him love doesn't mean accepting abuse. It feels like I failed him. You'd fail him more by teaching him that hurting himself gets him what he wants. We drove home in silence. Lisa stared out the window the whole way. When we got to the house, David's truck was in the driveway again. No, I said. No, he's not doing this. I pulled out my phone, called the police before we even got out of the car, told them David was trespassing again. They said they'd send someone. David got out of his truck when he saw us, walked over like he owned the place. We need to talk about Dylan, he said. There's nothing to talk about, Lisa replied. He's getting help. He'll be released to you in 3 days. He needs to come home, his real home, with his mother. His real home is wherever I say it is until he's 18, Lisa said. And right now, that's your house. You're being cruel. I'm being a parent. David's face twisted. You've changed, ever since you married him. He pointed at me. You were never like this before. Always supportive, always understanding. Now you're cold, hard. This isn't you. Maybe it should have been, Lisa said. Maybe if I'd been harder earlier, Dylan wouldn't be in a hospital bed. Maybe if I'd held him accountable instead of making excuses, he'd have learned consequences before things got this bad. Or maybe if you'd chosen your kids over your new husband, they wouldn't be falling apart. The police car pulled up, same officer as before. He recognized David immediately. Mr. Brenner, we talked about this yesterday. I'm trying to talk to my ex-wife about our son who's in the hospital, and she's asked you to leave her property, so you need to go, now, or I'll arrest you for trespassing. David looked between the three of us, his face red, hands clenched into fists. This isn't over, he said. Yes, it is, the officer replied. Leave, now. David got in his truck and drove away. The officer took our statement, gave us a case number, told us to call immediately if David came back again. He's escalating, the officer said. That's concerning. You might want to consider a restraining order. We went inside and locked the new locks behind us. Lisa sat on the couch and put her face in her hands. I need this to stop, she said. I need all of it to just stop. My phone rang. Patricia, our lawyer. David just filed for emergency custody, she said, claiming Lisa abandoned the children and they're in danger in her care. We have a hearing Friday morning. Dylan's in the hospital, I said. How is that Lisa's fault? It's not. But David's arguing that Lisa's actions caused Dylan's mental health crisis. He's also claiming she's being unduly influenced by you, trying to paint you as the villain. Can he win? Not with the evidence we have, but we need to be prepared. I'll file our response tomorrow. Make sure you're both at the courthouse Friday at 9. We'll be there. I hung up and told Lisa. She just nodded, too exhausted to even be surprised. How did it come to this? She asked. How did we go from normal family problems to lawyers and court dates and hospital visits in less than a week? Because you finally said enough, I replied. And people who've never faced consequences don't know how to handle them. The next 3 days were a blur. Dylan was released from the hospital with a referral for outpatient therapy. David picked him up. Sophia sent Lisa daily texts begging to come home. David sent lawyer letters threatening everything from custody modification to suing me for alienation of affection. Patricia kept filing responses, kept building our case, kept telling us to stay calm and let the evidence speak. Friday morning arrived. We dressed like we were going to a funeral. Lisa in a conservative dress, me in my only suit. We met Patricia at the courthouse at 8:30. Remember, she said, don't react, don't get emotional. Answer questions honestly and briefly. Let me do the talking. The hearing was in family court, small courtroom, Judge Anderson presiding. Middle-aged woman with tired eyes who'd probably seen every family drama imaginable. David showed up with his own lawyer. Candace was with him. Dylan and Sophia were not, probably not allowed since they were minors. David's lawyer went first. Painted Lisa as an unfit mother who'd chosen her new husband over her children. Claimed Dylan's suicide attempt was direct result of Lisa's abandonment. Brought up every little thing. Times Lisa had worked late. Times she'd missed school events. Times she'd been tired or distracted. Made her sound like a monster. Then it was Patricia's turn. She stood slowly, placed the investigator's report in front of the judge, started walking through everything. The parties, the theft, the fraud, the credit cards, the gambling, the lies. Mrs. Brenner didn't abandon her children, Patricia said. She removed them from a situation where they were engaging in criminal activity and placed them with their father as per their custody agreement. She's not denying access. She's requiring accountability. The judge looked through the documents. Her expression didn't change. She asked Lisa a few questions, asked me a few questions, asked David why he hadn't noticed his son opening fraudulent credit cards. David didn't have a good answer. Mr. Brenner, the judge said finally, your son committed multiple counts of fraud and theft. Your daughter was truant from school and involved with an adult man. These are serious issues that require serious intervention. Mrs. Brenner responded appropriately by removing them from a home where they had access to commit more crimes and placing them in your care. That's not abandonment. That's good parenting. David's lawyer tried to argue. The judge held up her hand. As for Dylan's hospitalization, I've reviewed the medical records. The attending psychiatrist noted the attempt appeared to be a gesture rather than a genuine effort. Dylan received appropriate care and was released with no recommendation that he return to his mother's home. In fact, the psychiatrist recommended continued separation while Dylan works through his behavioral issues in therapy. She closed the folder. looked at David with an expression that could freeze lava. Your emergency motion is denied. The current custody arrangement stands. Dylan and Sophia will remain in your primary care until such time as Mrs. Brenner determines they're ready to return, or until they turn 18. You're responsible for ensuring they attend school, follow through with therapy, and don't engage in further criminal activity. If you find that too difficult, perhaps you'll gain some appreciation for what Mrs. Brenner has been dealing with. She banged her gavel. We're done here. David's face went purple. He started to say something, but his lawyer grabbed his arm and pulled him toward the door. Candace followed, looking like she wanted to be anywhere else. Lisa and I sat there stunned. Patricia packed up her briefcase with a small smile. That went well, she said. We left the courthouse in a daze. Got to the car. Lisa started laughing. Not happy laughter. The slightly hysterical kind that comes when you've been holding everything in for too long. We won, she said. We actually won. You won, I corrected. You stood up for yourself and the judge saw it. I thought for sure she'd say I was terrible, that I had to take them back. The law is on your side. You did nothing wrong. We went home. Lisa changed out of her dress into sweats and laid on the couch. I made her tea and sat with her while she processed everything. What happens now? She asked. Now David has to actually parent his kids, and Dylan and Sophia have to live with consequences. Do you think they'll learn? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not, but that's not your responsibility anymore. Her phone buzzed. Text from Sophia. Lisa showed it to me. Mom, Dad says we have to stay with him forever. Is that true? I want to come home. Lisa typed slowly. It's not forever, but it's for now. You need to work on yourself. Be honest. Make better choices. When you're ready, we'll talk about you coming back. But that could be months, maybe longer. I love you. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. No response. That was hard, Lisa said. Being a parent is hard. I thought the hard part was potty training and teaching them to read. Turns out the hard part is letting them fail and not rushing in to fix it. 2 weeks passed. Dylan and Sophia stayed with David. We heard through other people that it wasn't going well. David's apartment was small. 2 bedrooms for 4 people. Candace had moved out after a week, saying she couldn't handle the tension. Dylan was going to therapy, but apparently not talking. Sophia was back in school, but struggling. David called Lisa once, asked if she could take them for a weekend, give him a break. Lisa said no. You wanted full custody, she told him. You got it. Figure it out. He hung up on her. My phone buzzed one evening. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me. Tom, it was Dylan. Can I talk to you? I'm listening. I want to apologize. For real this time. Not because I want something, just because I was wrong. About everything. The way I treated you. The stealing. The parties. All of it. I waited. Listening to him breathe on the other end. Living with Dad is awful, he continued. He doesn't care about anything. Just wants us to be quiet and stay out of his way. Candace left because of us. He blames us for everything. And I realized that you never did that. You actually tried. I just treated you like crap because I could. Why are you telling me this? Because I want to understand something. Why did you try so hard? You weren't my dad. You didn't have to do anything. But you paid for stuff and showed up and acted like you cared. Why? I thought about that. About my own father leaving. About growing up without that presence. About wanting to be different. Because I knew what it felt like to not have someone, I said. And I didn't want you to feel that way. But we made you feel that way instead. Yeah, you did. I'm sorry, he said. And this time it sounded real. I know that doesn't fix anything. But I am. What are you going to do about it? What do you mean? Sorry is just a word, Dylan. What are you going to do differently? He was quiet for a long time. I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out in therapy. The therapist says I have a lot of issues with anger and control. Says I push people away before they can leave me. Apparently that's because of my parents' divorce. That might explain your behavior. It doesn't excuse it. I know. She says that too. Says I'm responsible for my choices even if I have reasons for making them. She's right. Tom? His voice got small. Do you think Mom will ever let us come home? That depends on you. On real change, not promises. Not temporary good behavior. Actual sustained effort over months. How do I do that? You show up. You do the work. You're honest. You respect boundaries. You prove through actions that you're different. And maybe eventually, you earn trust back. But there's no guarantee. Even if I do everything right, even then, some things can't be fixed. He was quiet again. Okay, thanks for being honest. Dylan, yeah? I hope you figure it out. I really do. Because underneath all the crap behavior, I think there's a decent kid in there somewhere. I'll try, he said. That's all I can do. Right? Try. That's all any of us can do. He hung up. I sat there holding my phone and wondering if that conversation meant anything or if it was just another manipulation. Time would tell. Lisa came home from work an hour later. I told her about the call. She listened without interrupting. "Do you believe him?" she asked. "I don't know. Part of me wants to. Part of me thinks it's another game." "Me too." She kicked off her shoes. "I got a call from the credit card companies today. They're pressing charges. Dylan's going to have to go to court. How do you feel about that?" "Relieved? Is that terrible?" "I feel relieved that someone else is holding him accountable so I don't have to be the bad guy." "That's not terrible, that's human." A month passed. Then 2. Dylan went to court, got probation and community service, and had to pay restitution. The credit card debt was erased since he was a minor, and it was fraudulent, but he owed Lisa and me directly. Judge ordered him to get a job and make payments. He got hired at a fast food place. Started paying us back $20 a week. It would take years to cover the full amount, but it was something. Sophia asked to come home for Christmas. Lisa said no. We spent Christmas just the 2 of us. Quiet, peaceful, sad in a way, but also freeing. David sent a bitter text about how we'd destroyed his holiday by refusing to take the kids even for a day. Lisa blocked his number. Spring came. Dylan was still working, still going to therapy, still living with David. Sophia had brought her grades up, was talking about college. Both of them sent occasional texts. Always respectful now, always careful. Lisa responded sometimes. Short messages, keeping distance but not completely cutting them off. "I think they're actually changing," she said one evening. "Not just pretending." "Maybe. You still don't believe them?" "I think people can change. I'm just not sure these particular people will." 3 months later, Dylan called Lisa, asked if he could come by to talk, in person. Lisa looked at me for permission, which was weird because this was her son and her house, but I understood why she did it. "It's okay," I said. "I'll be here." Dylan showed up Saturday afternoon. He'd gotten taller, filled out a little, looked older somehow. He stood on the porch with new locks he couldn't open and waited for Lisa to let him in. She did. He walked into the house like it was a stranger's place. Looked around at everything. The replaced lamp, the cleaned couch, the space that used to be his home. "Thank you for seeing me," he said. Lisa nodded, gestured to the couch. He sat. We sat across from him in chairs, waiting. "I've been in therapy for 4 months now," Dylan started. "Learning a lot about myself, about why I did the things I did, about how much I hurt people, especially you guys." He looked at me. "Tom, I treated you like garbage, made your life miserable when you were just trying to help. I stole from you, disrespected you, made it clear I didn't think you mattered, and I'm sorry. Really sorry. Not because I want something, just because it's true. I didn't say anything, just listened. I've paid back $320 so far," he continued. "I know that doesn't cover what I took, but I'm still working, still making payments. My therapist says it'll take me about 3 years to pay everything back at this rate. I'm okay with that." "Why?" Lisa asked. "Why am I okay with it? Why are you doing this? The therapy, the job, the payments. Why now?" Dylan leaned back. "Because living with Dad showed me what the alternative looks like. He doesn't care about me. Not really. Candace left because she couldn't handle us. Dad just wants us gone. He counts down the days until I turn 18 and he can kick me out. Every day, he makes it clear we're a burden. And I realized that's what I did to you guys. Treated you like a burden. Made you miserable. And you still tried. Dad doesn't try. That's the difference." "So this is about Dad being worse than us?" I asked. "No. It's about me realizing that you guys actually loved me even when I didn't deserve it. And I threw that away because I was angry about the divorce and scared of being replaced and just generally being a selfish asshole." Lisa made a sound that might have been a laugh or a sob. "I can't undo what I did," Dylan said. "I know that, but I want to do better, be better. I'm not asking to move back in. I know I'm not ready for that, but I wanted you to know I'm trying, and I'm going to keep trying." He stood up. "That's all I came to say. Thanks for listening." Lisa walked him to the door. He turned back before leaving. "Mom, I love you. I know I didn't show it, but I do." "I love you too," Lisa said. "I never stopped." He left. Lisa closed the door and leaned against it, crying. I held her. "Do you think he meant it?" she asked. "I think he's figuring out who he wants to be. Whether he sticks with it long enough to actually change? That's the question." 6 more months passed. Dylan kept working, kept therapy, kept paying us back. Never asked to move home, just sent updates. Grades from the online classes he was taking to graduate on time. Photos of his Employee of the Month award. Small things that showed effort. Sophia asked to come home for her 16th birthday. Lisa said maybe, asked what Sophia had learned. What had changed? Sophia sent a 3-page letter, handwritten, about how she'd been following the wrong people. making bad choices because she thought it made her cool, how she'd hurt people, how she was sorry. Lisa read it 5 times, then called Sophia and told her she could come home for a trial period. 1 month, summer break, we'd see how it went. Sophia cried on the phone, thanked Lisa over and over, promised she'd be different. She moved back in June, nervous, walking on eggshells, following every rule, doing chores without being asked, spending time with Lisa, trying to rebuild. It was awkward, tense, but not terrible. Dylan called every week, never asked to come home, just talked about work, about therapy, about his plans for after high school. Lisa gradually relaxed into the conversations, started offering advice, started sounding like his mom again instead of a stranger. 1 year after the party, 1 year after everything fell apart, Lisa and I were having dinner when her phone rang. Dylan, Mom, I need to ask you something. What's up? I got accepted to community college for fall. I want to study computer science, but I need help with financial aid forms. Could you help me fill them out? Lisa looked at me. I nodded. Of course, she said. Come over this weekend. We'll work on it together. Dylan showed up Saturday morning. Sophia was there. They hugged, awkward at first, then real. We all sat around the kitchen table, filling out FAFSA forms, talking about classes and schedules and possibilities. It felt almost normal. When Dylan was leaving, he stopped at the door, looked at me. Tom, I still owe you $1,280. I'm going to keep paying. But I wanted you to know I'm grateful you didn't give up on Mom when everything went sideways. She deserves someone who has her back. You do that. I didn't know what to say, so I just nodded. He left. Lisa came and stood next to me. We watched him drive away in the car David had bought him, third hand and barely running. Think we'll be okay? She asked. I think we already are. Sophia graduated high school the next year. Dylan finished his associate's degree. Both of them working, both paying their own way, both respectful. Both changed in ways that seemed real. They'd never live with us again. That chapter was closed. But they were back in our lives, carefully, with boundaries, with mutual respect.